Hello YouTube, what is up? This is Shatner's Prodigy, bringing you my 10th episode of Fabled Quasar vs. the World today. Now before I go any further, I want to apologize that you can see that little toolbar down there. I can't explain why I have it there, it takes too long, so I'll put it in the description, you can read it there if you want. If it doesn't bother you, that's fine, ignore it, whatever. So anyways, here, against our first duel against Pokédeck, I'm going to make a pretty nice Quasar. I think it's pretty nice. Some of you may disagree, but whatever. Here I make a bit of a misplay and I go for a Phone Pulse Dragon, but I take it back immediately because I realize I have Formula on board. He doesn't shark me, so that's okay. And I'm able to go for my Fabled Reagan two ways. Now I think I have a Lurry in there, so if worse would have come to worse and he would have sharked me, then what I could have done is I could have discarded the Crust with my Dark World Dealings to bring back a Lurry and go for Armades that way. But it doesn't happen. He has Gores, which is at 2 now. And he quits out of the duel. That's good. He says GG. He quits out before I can type it back. So this guy, yeah, this guy with that unpronounceable name made his name by banging his head against a keyboard for 2 minutes. Gets the drop on me and I open complete trash. He, unlike Pokédeck, actually does something. He activates Supply Squad and summons out Bear. I'm guessing at this point he's playing +1 Fire Fist, which I thought died out at the end of the hat format, but turns out he's playing Fire Kings, which I thought never lived. So here I'm trying to make a move. Here I summon out my Cerberell, and this puts me in a tough position because I have both Crust and Chawa, but I have no way to get any advantage out of that. That puts me in a very awkward position. So here I'm proceeding one step at a time because I want to try and see what its back row is and not put too many cards on field into a Torrential Tribute, but you know what they say, if you're playing Fabled Quasar, you're going to overextend. So I wouldn't say I overextend, but I do extend as you must with Fabled Quasar, and I end up getting punished for it. Not punished exactly, but not rewarded either. So here I summon out this, and instead of going for, you know, maybe the sensible play, which would be to attack all this stuff, I decided to try and go for Quasar, and my Phone Pulse Dragon gets bottomless. Now, if you don't know this, but you will on Wednesday, I used to play a card called Powered Inzektron in my Fabled decks. That's my level 6. And its effect is, the turn this card is summoned, it cannot be destroyed by battle or card effects, and you don't take any battle damage or something. And so I used to run that card because it dodged bottomless. But they could always just bottomless anything else that I summon throughout the combo, and Quasar itself if they have a way to dodge it. So here I'm viewing my graveyard, just trying to see what I can make, and I summon out Chawa, and yeah, he Book of Moons my Ganashia, so I end up scooping because honestly there's no way I can win from this scenario. Soul Charge won't net me, and he won't be able to get me a big field back if he kills my entire field using Barongs and that guy, and yeah, there's just nothing I can do. So here, for the 3rd time in a row, I get a start, which is an unusual blessing, and I'm happy about it. I play against Razorone, or Raze1, I don't know. I'm not going to say it was a randomly generated name, but that was an awkward name. So here I decide to get as many Reagans as possible on field, which, here I make a big misplay. I activate Dark World Dealings without having anything to discard in hand. I was hoping to rip a Soul Charge for that first turn Quasar, but it doesn't happen. And I end up just going Neg, which is a shame. But yeah, I don't run Pilates anymore because that was a dumb move in the first place. And it turns out that he's playing Satellar Knight, so you can guess where this is going. Yeah, who would have thought that Infinite Recursion would be helpful against a Quasar deck? But whatever, he just beats over my stuff and I take 1800 damage, no big deal. If I rip a Soul Charge, I'm good. Here I type in the chat, Bottomless or Soul Charge would be the death of me. Actually, there I was going to type in reveal Bottomless, not Scoop. But I decided against it because, I mean, I think I would be able to play through a Bottomless, maybe, if I top deck the right card. But no, I top deck a Grimro, and there's just nothing I can do at this point. He makes double Altair, and I don't realize it at the time. As you're going to see, I typed 4200 into the chat, but the second Altair does indeed bounce the first Altair, and the reason why I scoop it up is because he was going to do 2100 damage, putting me at 5100 life points, and I would have no cards in hand, so even if the best case scenario happened, and I drew Soul Charge as my one card out of 40 cards, which if Soul Charge has the same chance of being drawn as Double Summon is, my gosh, I put that card in today and I've drawn it almost every duel. Then, I mean, maybe I would have gone for it, but whatever. So here you see me make an awkward play, and I summon 2 monsters and pass after discarding those 2 cards. If I would have waited until I drew my next card, I could have made a much easier Quasar. But as it stands, I had to do with what I had to do. So here I'm just trying to make anything I can. Here making Librarian or tuning, making Librarian and Formula or Reagan and Formula would have had the same effect. But now if I need to go for multiple monsters, I can. But here I can't do anything, so I decide he's playing Dragon Rollers or Heretics. So I want to keep my Formula on board and gets into Black Rose's field. So here he summons out his second Red Eyes Dragon. Keep count of those Red Eyes, guys. And he summons out Crimson Blader. So at the end of his main phase 1, I activate Formula going into Black Rose Dragon. Then he says it's still main 1, but it's not main 1. It would be the battle phase because I chained him declaring that he's entering the battle phase. But I decided not to tell him that because I think he might call an admin, and I don't want to deal with Gangsta again or one of his crooked, corrupt minions. So here he leaves a, what do you call it? Start a Spark Dragon on field, and I don't go for broke, I'm going to go for 3 monsters. I know the face down is Imperial Iron Wall, I'm not afraid of anything he has. So I just go for the Quasar in defense mode. There you see me type in the chat, I'm negating Big Eye and nothing else. Because I know he has the resources to make it. He has, well, now he has another Red Eyes on field because of that Carboneton. Then he has Glow Up Bulb and another Dragon and the Red Eyes and something else. I'm sure he has one other monster that he can use to make a Big Eye. So there he uses a DDR to bring back one of his banished level 7s, which I think is pretty insane. That card is ridiculous, but I don't run it because it's cloggy. It doesn't pass the Reagan test. And here he summons out 2 Dragon Rollers and goes for a second Big Eye. I scoop it up. If he would have summoned a Draco Sack, I wouldn't have scooped it up because, you know, if he summons a Draco Sack, I need to summon out Shooting Star Dragon. But because Quasar stays on the field, I have to deal with a Quasar attacking me when I have 2,200 life points, which is not a scenario you can ever get out of at any point. So here I go for a Reagan, and here I'm playing the game of draw as many cards as possible so you don't lose. So here I'm faced with a dilemma where I can get where I have a discard outlet and I can get a card to discard, but I'd lose my Reagan or I'd put Level Eater back to the top of my deck. So here I'm trying to think of what I can do to make it so that putting Level Eater at the top of my deck doesn't hurt me. But I can't think of any scenario where that's possible. And yeah, this is actually a callback to an earlier duel I did on episode 1 or 2 of Fabled Quasar versus the World, where I had my first loss against Dark World. And I was upset. I got, what do you call it? Either Royal Tributed or I think I got Royal Tributed. I think the guy played Royal Tribute on me. I'm like, why are you playing Necro Valley in a Dark World deck? I can understand it, but I guess Grapha doesn't activate in the graveyard, so it doesn't matter. But here he's going through the motions. I don't care what he's doing. And here I say, oh man, is this a Dark World Exodia deck? And I was kind of panicking because, as you know, I dislike Dark Worlds and I dislike Exodia. I think Exodia is one of the most degenerate decks to play in Yu-Gi-Oh! And I don't care. You could argue I should have discarded the Desynchro because because he probably has some Graphas in hand and some discard outlets that aren't cost, which if you don't know, for those of you who don't know, Magical Stone Excavation does discard as a cost, so Dark Worlds don't get their effects, but Fableds do, which is good. But if he does have that, then he can pop, and he'll probably pop first my, what do you call it, Reagan, and then he'll either go after that or my back row. But because Dark World just has so many powerful monsters and so many spells and traps at their disposal, I just figured it wasn't worth it. So I think he's playing Exodia until he reveals he's playing an FTK deck. And oh my gosh. Now, unfortunately, this guy does know that Change resolved backwards, so I'm not able to get the easy win that way. Alright, hey guys, I didn't thank you in the video because it got kind of fast-paced towards the end, but I do want to thank you guys sincerely for all the time you put into my channel. I want to thank the 31 of you who did subscribe for subscribing. And I just want to give a big heartfelt welcome to all of you. We made it. Took us 6 months to put out 10 episodes of this, but I'm glad we did, and I'm hoping for 10 more. Cheers, guys.
Carry on my wayward son. There'll be peace when you are done. Lay your weary head to rest. Don't you cry no more.